Time flies when you're having fun. If you stop and stare, you might just watch the world change around you. Before you know it, car brands have changed too, especially in a brief period of time. So here are 10 car brands that have changed the most in the last 10 years. Volvo. 10 years ago, Volvo was a boring brand driven by dentists and architects. Volvos have always been boring. They were never a brand for the young generation. That all changed when Geely Motors, a Chinese car firm, bought Volvo in 2010. Nothing seemed to have changed until in 2016 when we feasted our eyes on the new XC90. The stunning luxury and modern design in the headlights would pave a way for future Volvos like the S90 and the V60. The future is bright for Volvo for many years to come. Jaguar. Like Volvo, Jaguar was a plain brand which was only driven by pensioners. Despite having a large heritage, Jaguar never connected to its roots, until the XK came along. Out were the ugly designs from the S-Type and X-Type, and in was a futuristic and beautiful design. Things only got better with the XF and XJ. Since then, Jaguar has made an entry-level saloon, a sports coupe and 2 new crossovers. We nearly had a hypercar as well. Ferrari. Italy's finest car brand has changed a lot in 10 years. Throughout the noughties, Ferraris were good but never perfect. They stopped being art and instead became science. People believed that Ferrari lost their mojo, but thankfully the magnificent 458 Italia changed everything. Since then, Ferraris have been marvellous, full of performance and great looking. However, not one of them has a manual gearbox, and they have won an F1 title in 10 years. God damn it. BMW. 10 years ago, BMW had a V8 M3 and a V10 M5 and M6. They even had an F1 team. They created cars which wowed the world, just like before. However, recently, most NA cars have been downsized. They've become less thrilling to drive, and they have an army of crossovers. They no longer have an F1 team, and they make 2 hybrids like the i3 and i8. There is much more to come, and they even have a front-wheel drive car now. Tesla. Tesla is probably the fastest growing car brand of all time. They started making a sporty roadster which was futuristic but very flawed. Since then, Elon Musk has created 3 new models and 2 more on the way, including a new roadster, an SUV and a semi-truck. Annoyingly, the brand has totally changed the way people look at electric cars, and they have been very successful since their humble beginnings. They even have one in space. Honda. 10 years ago, we marked the beginning of the end for Honda. The S2000 would cease production a year later, and the Civic Type R was a boat with wheels. Gone were the sporty lightweight VTEC monsters, and instead we have crossovers, hatchbacks, and other boring like the F1 team. Modern Hondas are quite underwhelming, with the exception of the Civic Type R, and the new but mediocre NSX. Honda needs to make the comeback it deserves. Kia. Kia was a laughingstock 10 years ago. They were tin can one-liners which brought embarrassment and humiliation. When the new decade came around, everything changed. They are still cheap, but very likeable. The Ceed gained a lot of good press as a reasonably priced car on Top Gear, and the Sportage crossover and the Optima Saloon have won hundreds of awards. Their good looks and low prices have made them a better alternative to the high-end German cars. Ford. In the noughties, Ford promised us the GT and the Mustang as a sporty alternative to their lineup. At first we thought that was the end of it, but little did we know that Ford's entire lineup would be full of sporty fun and very likeable cars. We have the Fiesta ST, Focus RS, F-150 Raptor and a new Ford GT. Even the Mondeo was a thriller. Renault. In 2008, Renault had many awards, one of which was the world's most unreliable car. The award was given to the Megane. Their cars were also quite ugly too, like the Fluence, a saloon version of the Nissan Juke. Nowadays, Renaults are quite the looker. The new Megane is gorgeous, and they even brought the old Alpine brand back from the dead. Renault is also under the Nissan umbrella too, so you can guarantee reliability. Hyundai. Hyundai was a brand filled with rubbish and mediocrity. Like Kia, a brand which they own, Hyundai only had one advantage up their sleeve. They are cheap. Cars like the i10 and i30 were brought up by old people and young people starting new families. Their crossovers like the Tucson are cars loved by everyone. The Tucson is currently Ireland's best-selling car. Hyundai has even released a hot hatch, which has taken the world by storm. They even have old BMW engineers behind it, so it's a cracker.